So, so I'm just waiting for Naomi to press the button. Okay. So, this is a important training, and we do away. Actually, we'll have a makeup because some people are stressing because they're gonna miss it. And basically, it's our foundation training, which is run by the impeccable Mr. Monstrin. So, but before we do that, let's get our morning aloha from our district governor, Nancy. Go for it, Nancy.
Well, aloha. I happen to be in Monterey, California. It's sunny and beautiful here. Of course, always a great trip across the ocean and on a red eye. But anyway, glad to be here. It was the sad part is for my uncle's celebration of life, but he was 103, so he had a great life. Our World War II veteran that we're celebrating it with red, white, and blue, and celebrate American. This celebration is so. Good to be with the whole family, though. But of course, I think it's just wonderful that we can still do our training and learning. Glad to see so many people because it grants and all that is still a mystery. I see Kerry Glass here. Thank God, because he's the only guy that keeps me telling me between him and Naomi, you don't need to donate money here. Now you need to donate it there. So just listen to those people that know so much more than us. So thank you all for spending your Saturday with us. We got this hour and another one at 10 o'clock from 10 to 11. So, and thank you to Benson and Naomi for putting these great seminars together. Okay, aloha.
Hey, thanks, Nancy. I'm going to turn it over to Naomi now, and she can give us a little intro to what we're going to be doing today. Okay, Naomi.
Okay. So this first hour at 9 o'clock, we're doing the grants training. And so this is for the PEs, mostly for the PEs and another person from the club. So you need two people. So on your video screen, please don't forget to put your club because we are taking roll here because we do need the two people from each club. Okay. And so there's a lot of information on this PowerPoint, but it's because it's going to be posted where you can refer back and see of all the information and see what the process is to qualify. So let me start with the sharing of this PowerPoint. It's really busy and really long, and so I apologize in advance, but it's really important to see this, get this information. So, okay, here we go. Okay. So this is the qualification for next year's grants. So for the 26th, so that's all of the Benson's team, the grants for next year. Okay, so let's get the agenda. We're going to go over the grant program, see how the funding goes. We don't yet have the allocation for next year. We won't get that until about, Dave, it'll be about February, March that we get the allocation numbers.
We're going to try to get it done in February timeframe.
Okay, good. So that when people go to pets, or PELs, sorry, hopefully they'll have the amount. And then we'll go through the grant agreements and how you need to qualify. So the takeaways, so please remember these key points. To use the grant money, you've got to make sure that you've got an application, that the purpose was approved. You don't spend the money until after the grant funds are in your account. Need to use all of funds that Rotary year, and May 31st is the due date for the final report. Okay, so when you plan your events, your projects, you need to make sure you got enough time to get that final report in by May 31st. Disbursements are authorized by two people. The grant money cannot be carried over. You got to use it that Rotary year. Okay, so I'm going to go through all of these things, but these are the main takeaways from this webinar. Okay, so let's get into the overview of grants. There are 4 different kinds of grants. There are global grants, which starts at 30,000. That's for international projects. Well, we have one here in Hawaii, but it's because we have an international project and they initiated, so it's their global grant. Then we've got the district grants, and these are the ones that you use for your local projects. Disaster response are 25,000. That's when you have a disaster. And the programs of scale are really big ones, and they don't award that a lot, but it starts at 2 million. So the first one for malaria was actually started at 2 million, but when people put in money, it became 6 million, and that was to eradicate the or control the malaria. So here are the stats for 23-24. We don't have the 24-25 on the Rotary website, but here, 485 district grants. So we get one district grant and then we spread it out among the clubs, right? And that was 30 million worldwide. Then you can see how many disaster grants, global grants, and then the programs of scale. But here's your timeline for 26-27. Okay, so in the fall, and by the policy manual, we need to have the fall seminar. 2 people from your club attend. Okay, then we let you know how to qualify for next year's grants. So by January 31st, we want all of the qualifications in, and it's because when Dave calls the meeting, Dave and Benson call a meeting for the spending on how much we're going to give out. We need to know who's qualified. Okay, so please, all clubs, please pay attention to the how to qualify because we need all of these things by January 31st. Okay. Then the final report for this year is May 31st, and then next year your deadline for final reports is May 31st again, always May 31st, and June 15th is when the new applications come out. So PEs, you're working with your incoming board to get that that application done, submitted by June 15th. And the reason why we want to do it by June 15th is many clubs need that money early in the year. So they need it for school supplies or things for the schools, and they need it in August. And so that is why per the policy manual, we have it in June 15th. And if you're not ready to do it at that time, don't worry. You can have it at the next round, but you're not going to get your money in August. Okay. And then once we get that money distributed, then you can start spending. So here is the diagram. Okay. So if you can, I guess for visual people, you want to see, how it flows out. So this is the flow chart. So the qualification that we do the training in the fall, January 31st is when you send in your documents, and we'll go over the qualifications later. Then you put in your application. Then we have the funding. Okay. Then the funding is the money goes into your grant account, then the final reports, and then the documentation. So that's your flow chart. So on the grants subcommittee, there's Joni Henderson and me. So we may add more people because it's a lot of work to keep track of all of the documents. So you may get emails from Joni reminding you that we haven't gotten something or something's not complete or something. And then stewardship is Paul Saito and Laura Stilquist. Stewardship is looking at the applications, making sure we're following the Rotary International rules, because your district governors sign an MOU with Rotary International. And so the district is bound by all of those rules, and we need to follow those rules too. And that's why sometimes we're kind of strict, and it's because we need to follow those rules that Rotary has set for us. Okay, so the checklist. Nancy, did you want to say something? Oh,
No, I'm good.
no, Nancy, she's
Oh,
talking,
Nancy.
but
Oh,
she's
okay, sorry.
muted.
Yeah, sorry. What I wanted to point out too, because you're going to say it again here, you've got to file your tax returns too. Your club needs to make sure they keep that done every single year. So as incoming presidents or as board members in that, double check who's doing those tax returns. I think a lot of that's is becoming, or I see it for the first time, and now I'm in this position, that a lot of clubs think somebody else did it and didn't realize, one, it had to be done, and that it just doesn't happen by osmosis. So that tax return, and then you'll see us later bugging you to send us a copy of your bank statement, right? Don't you need the bank statement for this one too, Naomi? That becomes a big issue. So just want to say that verbally, really big things to stay on top of, because there's so much going on in this crew of between Laura and Paul Saito and Joni and Naomi trying to track on all of this. Please get that paperwork in so they can get the money to you and you get your projects done in a timely manner. Okay, thank you.
Well, thanks. And while you're talking about the tax return, this year we're really going to hound you for all of the clubs for getting the tax return in November because the due date, this is not optional. The tax return is mandatory. And if you are under Rotary's umbrella of the 501c4, the clubs are 501c4s, you need to stay on top of the filing. And you don't want to lose that because if you lose your 501c4 under Rotary, you've got to go get it on your own, and you cannot get back under Rotary's umbrella for that the tax qualification, that category. Okay, so our district treasurer, Rich Proctor, is going to be sending out an email very shortly to remind everybody that November 15th is the deadline to file your either your tax return or the 990N, which is the easiest thing to do. It's like an email to say that you're under 50,000 in income. So we're going to be tracking that now. So by in November, we're going to start tracking the tax filings for the grants. So those all go to grants at rotaryd5000.org, okay? Because we want to make sure that it is filed. So please respond to Rich's email. So we're going to track that now. But by January 31st, we need everybody to be qualified. And so to qualify, you need to have two people to this seminar. You need the three documents, and we'll go over those three documents and how they should be filled out. The tax return. If you have any fundraising and any income that is subject to general excise tax for the state, you need to also give us that summary that you filed the annual report. Okay, so we have not been tracking for the GE filings in the past. If you sent it to us, okay. But now, if we know you had a fundraiser, you need to have the GE filing. Okay, the evidence of the bank account is fine, but you can wait on that because when we get the approvals for the applications and we're going to put the money in your account, that's when we have to have that copy of the bank statement. Okay. And the copy of the bank statement is important because we need to make sure the title is correct and that you have your club cash, your matching cash in that bank account before we can put that money in. And a lot of you don't have statements. You only have the online. The online doesn't give us the whole bank account number. And so some of the banks need to have that whole number or else we can't make that deposit. Okay, and then the training is preferably the PE because the president-elect is the one signing all the documents and he's responsible for what the documents say. Okay, and then May 31st is your final reports, but that's for this year. And then next year, you're responsible for next year's report. So on the district website, this is how you find these documents. You go to Club Resource, click on Foundation, then the menu opens up to this. So go to grants, and then this one opens up, and then you go to grant district grants. By the way, Janet and Richie are working on kind of redesigning the website so that it's a lot easier to find everything. So we're going to have a second page, a second home page for members to find things. So that's where we have one box for foundation. You go to that box and then you can find everything. But when you click on this district grant thing, you're going to find this page. So this is the page on the website, and this is where you can see you've got the application, the disbursement voucher, the allocation, the terms and conditions if you want to read it for yourself, and the qualification forms. So everything is right here on this page, okay? So it will be updated shortly for next year's documents, and we'll go over those documents because here are the documents. Okay, is Laura on the call? Benson, is Laura on? No? Sorry, can't see everybody. Oh,
I don't
Okay.
see her right now.
okay.
Let me
Oh,
look.
Dave unmuted. So Dave, did you want to go over these? No?
No, I just was saying I don't see her on the call either.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the three documents that we need signed. Okay, got to be signed by two different people. So that would be signed because this is for next year. Yeah. 26, 27, it needs to be signed by the presidents for those 2 years. So right now, those two presidents are called the PE and the PN. So if you don't have that president for that following year, then you can have this year's president or any past president sign with you, but two different people. So even though you're covering, the PE is covering both years, we need a different person. And the reason is what is contained in these documents cover the agreements, and this is all from Rotary International, that you're going to agree to follow the rules, that you're going to have the bank account is going to be titled some certain way, and then you're going to be stewards of that money to make sure it's used correctly. So let's go over the documents. Okay, so the first one is the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU. So this one is saying that the club is going to follow the rules and that you're going to follow, do the financial management, your bank account requirements to authorize for disbursement. So that doesn't mean two people need to sign the checks. It means two people needs to authorize the disbursement. And so when you have the voucher, it's got two people on it, and so two people need to make sure that the disbursement is going to the right purpose and it's correct use of the funds, that there's no conflict of interest, that is going according to what you got approved for. Okay, so it's again signed by the 26, 27 president and the 27, 28 person. Okay. Then the addendum is because in the MOU, it says that we're going to have a bank account for each fund. But since that really applies to global grants, where you need one dedicated bank account per grant, global grant, it doesn't apply to district grants. So like if you've got 10 district grants, you can use the same account. You don't need a separate account for each one. Okay, so that's what the addendum is saying, that we're changing that one rule on the MOU. Okay, then the financial management plan, this is where we're taking care of the account. We've got a dedicated bank account, and on this document, it does say that the title of this grant account, the club's grant account now, not the club's foundation, it's the club's grant account. It should be titled. So the first title, the first line of your bank account is your club name, of course. The second line should say TRF District Grant Account. But if you have grant account or district grant account, then that's fine. But it should, if you're changing signers, you can ask them to make it TRF District Grants Account. And it's because Rotary wants that grant account to be identified as the grant account. Okay, so disbursements to people, and then make sure you keep all of the receipts and any other documentation, because when you send in the final report, we need all of the receipts that account for that money that you have on allocated. So it's all of if your budget is $1,000, but you only got $500 in grant money, we need receipts for $1,000, the whole budgeted amount. Okay. Now, all of these receipts and documentation, all the things that pertain to the grant, we need in the folder. So hopefully you all have this folder, and we need it in physical form and electronic form, and it's for 5 years from date of final report. Okay, so make sure, go back and make sure you still got that that folder, that file of documentation, 5 years worth. Okay, the reason why we need to be good stewards of this money is Rotary, that money comes from Rotary, right? So we donate money to the Rotary Foundation and it comes back. Rotary has 16 years of the highest rating from Charity Navigator. Charity Navigator looks at these nonprofits to rate them, to see how much money is going towards administration, how much is going to what they say they're doing, how much good they're doing in the world. Rotary is proud to say we have 16 years of the highest rating. And so when people look at that, they're thinking, okay, I can trust Rotary to take care of my money and use it the way that I intended. Okay, so that is why we need to follow, all of you in the clubs need to follow the rules. Okay. So stewardship is that responsibility of managing the money and report any irregularities and then submit reports on time, keeping the documents. Okay, so on the Rotary International website and our website, we have these terms and conditions for district grants. So you can look at this if you're not sure about something, if that's allowable or not. You can look at the terms and conditions. If there's still some gray areas, you can call Paul Saito about that. But we need to follow these terms and conditions. And some of the things that it says in the terms and conditions says that it's within Rotary's mission. You can't disperse funds until it's approved. It's not, you can't use grant money for something that's already in progress or something that's already completed. Okay, so this is for Rotary, the Rotary Foundation. Okay, not necessarily IRS. This is Rotary's rule. Okay, if you're going to change the project, so say you sent in an application for a certain purpose. Okay, and it changed because we've had some where they put in the application for something and then that nonprofit got money from someplace else and now they don't need the money from Rotary. So you can change the purpose, but we need to get it approved by Rotary again. Okay, so that's why on the application there's a box for if it's a revised application. Okay, conflict of interest, got to make sure that we're not putting grant money into a Rotarian's pocket unless there's a clear arm's length transaction. Follow the privacy rules, and we need to identify the project as a Rotary Foundation project. And I know we haven't been really consistent about that, but when you do your announcement about the projects, when you're doing it in the paper, when you're putting the signs out, you want to try and identify the Rotary Foundation as a partner in that project. Okay, so what grants cannot be used for? Okay, it specifically says unrestricted cash donations to a beneficiary or an organization. So in the past, a lot of you have been giving gift cards out. A gift card can be construed as unrestricted. Okay, so if you're giving a gift card out for a prize and you don't restrict it to school supplies or a scholarship or something, you really need to check with Paul Saito because that might be unallowable, ineligible for grant funds. So be careful when you have any kind of cash giving out with grant money or gift cards. Okay, so if you're giving a gift card, and so say you're giving a $25 gift card for Zippy's Thanksgiving dinner or to Foodland, and you're telling the person this is for food, or to Fisher and this is for school supplies, that is restricted to that use. And whether they use it for that purpose or not, we're not asking. You can ask them for receipts, but we're not tracking that one. But as long as we try and restrict the use of that money, then it'll fly. Okay, so continuous support of one is something that Rotary does not like. And you might say dictionaries. Every year we do dictionaries. Well, dictionaries it's a continuous thing, but it's a different group of kids. It's a different maybe different school, but those are okay. But if you're giving to an organization and they need it for operating, that is not eligible. Okay. Rotary clubs, Rotarians cannot own anything that is purchased with the grant money. You cannot use it for a fundraiser or going to district conference or events. Okay, so those are not allowable. So please check out these rules of what it cannot be used. This is straight from that terms and conditions for that document from Rotary International. Okay? Okay. Any questions on that? We're good? All good? Okay, good. Okay. Sorry, lots of stuff to cover. And we're halfway through, good. But let's talk about where the money comes from. So the money comes from the donations that your club members made to the annual fund share. Okay, it's got to be to the annual fund share. This is the only one that comes back. See, Dave is shaking his head. Yes, got to make sure it's the annual fund share. So whenever people give, make sure that they know that it's the annual fund share account. That fund is the one that comes back to us. So please, when you get your money, please let your club members know that this is their money that they put in. So this is how it's divvied up. They're using that money. And Dave, you want to talk about how that money is used for Rotary International's operating for 3 years and then we get it back?
Sure. So remember, folks, that this money that's coming back to you is a fixed amount of money that was given 3 years ago. So the money we're using for this year, 2026, will be from 3 years back. And that's what, when we give money to the Rotary Foundation for Share, Rotary uses that money or the proceeds from the interest on that to help their operating cost and to reduce that. Otherwise, we're going to have to be paying higher dues. So it's critical for our clubs to be giving money to the Rotary Foundation Share because that's how we cover that operating cost. But once that money comes back to us, it is brought into two categories. The World Fund takes half of it, and then the district designated funds takes half of it. And that half is then the district funds are broken into two categories. Half of that going into district grants and half of that going into the global grants. So you've got the World Fund that is being used by the discretion of those people at Rotary International, and that helps to also match our global grant funds as well as disaster grants and things of their discretion. But then we get that 50% back also for the district grants and the global grants and the matching of those funds back from the World Fund. So those are the two funds. Hopefully that covers it, but Naomi, go ahead and add anything else that you feel necessary.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, that's why it's really important to get those donations into the annual share fund, because this is what you get back for these grants to your club. And just know that other districts may do it differently. They may have their district grants might be a one pot, and all of the clubs have to apply for that money and see if they get it. So not all of the clubs will be able to use the money that they put in. For us, we felt that, and this was a policy from long ago, that this is your club's money, so we're going to give it back to your club to decide how you're going to use that money.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have that allocation.
One
Okay.
other thing on that, Naomi and group, is that the money that you're getting back, based on that fixed dollar amount that's coming back to us, it's based upon a percentage of your giving for the last 3 years. So for the last 3 years, we look at the average of your giving, and that percentage is what we use to take that fixed dollar amount and figure out how much goes back to Benson's club or Nancy's club or Judy's club. So basically, uh, your percentage of giving from your club definitely has some play in how much money comes back to your club.
Yeah. And again, it's just to be fair, we did the average. So in just so it's not just 1 year that we're looking at your percentage. We're averaging 3 years because 1 year you might have more than another, and so that was another way to be fair. And so the district wants to try to be fair to all of you. So when you look at this breakdown, half of it going to the World Fund. That's where the global grants get this extra money. And so Mark Harbison really liked the global grants because you get this World Fund money back. And so when we are looking at the global grants in the next webinar at 10 o'clock, we want to make sure that we use all of our global grant money and get that World Fund match as well. Okay, so hopefully this was kind of a good picture on where that money is coming from and how we divvy it up. So for this year, it was the 22-23 money that went to share. we took that amount. It was 295,000. And by the way, for next year, it's I think the amount that the district gave is less, so we'll get less money next year for district grants. But for 22-23, we had 295,000 in donations from our district. Okay, so we are able to take 5% as an admin fee out of the district grant side, and then we give some money to Polio Plus and the Peace Center, and then we divvy it up so much for district grants, so much from global grants. So this year we had 140,000 coming back to us, and this is how we broke it down. We this year changed the DDF district designated fund breakdown. You remember before we had so much for no match and so much for match. And so the clubs were putting in more money. We thought that if we make it even, that the clubs don't have to put as much money, because we're hearing that some clubs do not have club cash. So it was the amount that we get, 25% goes to no match, 25% to match, and then 50% to global grants. Okay, so it was 33,000 for no match. That means if a club doesn't have any club cash, they can use the no match without putting in any club cash. Okay, then the matched one is 33,000. That's where the clubs put in the same amount, okay, in order to use that matched amount. And then global grants, this year we dropped it. In the past, we asked the clubs to put in 100% match, club cash match. And it was because in the past, we would get a match from Rotary from the World Fund. But a couple of years ago, they cut that out. And so now they're not matching the club cash. So this year we decided we're going to cut that 100% matching requirement down to 50%. Okay, so we got 70,000, and then you match it 50%. Okay, so when you put in the club cash for their matching, the 50% from global grants, and then the World Fund puts in 60,000 if we did all of the global grants, we got 267,000 for our global and district grants. So that's a lot of money. We can do a lot of good in the world with that money. So that's how the breakdown goes. After we do the breakdown, Dave?
Yeah, Naomi, can I clarify
Sure.
something on that? The 50% for the global grants is a minimum match. So as a club, if you don't have as much funds, you only have to match a maximum or minimum of 50%. But if you want to match 100%, you can do that, and you'll get the full 100% match as well as the match from Rotary International. So it's up to you as a club to decide if you've got enough money in the coffers to match the global grants at 100% or as little as 50%. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. And you might want to support those projects because and maybe go on those projects too, because when you go to these international service projects, it really changes your lives. And so if there's a project, global grant project that you really support because it's going to make a difference for those people, you might want to give money. And when you have the club cash that you need to put in, you can fundraise. A lot of clubs do fundraise so that they get the club cash to use for these. You can ask for donations from other people. Nancy knows a lot of foundations, so she can go ask foundations if they want to put in some money to support those grants. Okay, so this is how the breakdown is for this year. Next year, we won't know until February on how much you're going to get. Okay, so once we get that spending project, the spending money, the plan in place, Dave will do this matrix. And so on this matrix, and it's on the district website, it shows you how much we're getting for global grants, district grants, and the matching amounts. And so he lists down the 3 years. These are the 3 years of your club giving, because this is to come up with that percentage of the total of the pot that you're going to get. Okay, so the more you're giving, the bigger your allocation is. So here, let's go with Ala Moana. Sorry, Ala Moana is number 1. So this is what they gave. This is a percentage. And so they're going to get 3,216 for district grants. And this is how it breaks down. 50% of that money, or 25% of the whole pot, is 1,608. So no matching, so no club cash. Then the match portion, same amount. Okay, and then the global grants is 3,330. So that club just needs to match up 50% if they want to use that, or put in more if they want. But that is how much DDF, district designated funds, that we get to use for that global grant. Okay, hope that clears mud. But let me show you how that breaks down for your application. So when you're doing your application, okay, there's this portion about financing, and this is where you put the cash, how much cash you're putting in, how much no match, how much match you're putting in. So you have a budget of a dollar amount, and this is how you're going to finance it. Okay, so put the name of your club. Don't put District 5000. Just put your name of your club. Oh, and I spelled it wrong. Sorry, Alamana. This is how much you're putting in cash, no match, no match, and then the total is 4,800. Okay, so this is how much is in the financing portion. So you see this amount, no match, comes here, and this match figure comes here. Okay, so that's how you fill out your application. Okay, got it? Okay, okay. So when we get these applications, and that's why on the application we ask you for what is the category? Is it education? Is it peace? It is because when we send in our application, what we need to do is fill out this spreadsheet with Rotary International. And this is a copy of the spreadsheet. We have to put in the name, the location, what activity is, and then we got to break it down to the specific activity, say who the beneficiary is, and we need to give a description of that project. So that is why we ask you on the first sentence on your application to put a description of the project and make it one thing. And so don't say, oh, we have a lot of homeless people and they need things. The project is maybe we're going to buy supply kits, hygiene kits for homeless people. So be brief in your first sentence on what the project is, because that is what Rotary International is going to look at to see if it's eligible. Okay, so what we do is we cut and paste because it's too hard to go type in all of these things for 100 applications. So every application that you have, we have to line item this purpose. Okay, so here Alamana was a general. They had a community development project for hugs. It was a general activity, help children, and this is the description of what they did. Okay, so just be mindful that somebody has to go input this into the Rotary International spreadsheet. So we need to really be clear on what that project is. Okay, so your applications are reviewed by the stewardship committee. So Paul Saito went through all of the applications to make sure it kind of fits what Rotary is looking for. And then from there, we populate this spreadsheet for Rotary International. We have to put in 80% of our money into this in the spreadsheet. And so sometimes that's 100 different applications because some clubs want to do different things, right, with their money. Okay, so it's a lot of work. So if you can help us do that, and that's why we ask for the applications on June 15th, is because we've got to do this spreadsheet. Okay, then Rotary will look at the spreadsheet. They'll say, okay, this looks okay. If they have questions, then they come back to us, and that holds the whole application back. So if you've got, if we're asking you, what does this mean? You got to answer us quickly, because otherwise it'll hold this whole application back from being approved, because they're only going to give us one approval for this one application. Okay, so hopefully that helps you understand why we have to ask so many questions, why we're asking for a description that is complete. So really important, make sure that your DDF is used, immediately deposited, dispersed only from the grant account. For district grant projects, your club cash needs to be in the bank account first before we put the grant money in. Okay, and pay all of the grant funds from the grant account. It's got to be from the grant account. Okay, so really important to do that. Use the voucher, because this is a policy that you use the voucher for every disbursement. And thank you, Hilo Club, for really pushing to have this be a fillable PDF. Okay, so this also is on the district website, but you've got to use that voucher. When you're doing the final report, it's due 2 months after you complete the project, but no later than May 15th. And you'll be sent all of the receipts that total that amount. So it would be good if you can itemize so we don't have to add it up. But then we know if you're missing something. You're going to X out that final report thing. And then on there's a column on the right-hand side for final amounts. So as long as the project is approved for that purpose, you can kind of move around the money. So if you spent more money for supplies or something, but it's within that purpose, it's fine. So that's why if you did five applications and one didn't go, you can use that money for another one of the other applications. So as long as your purpose was approved, the dollar amount can be changed without getting a new approval. Okay.
Naomi, there was a question. Did you say the 15th of May or the 31st of May is no later?
Oh, sorry. 31st May is when the final report is. June 15th is when the new application is due.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So with the audit, about 15 to 20% of the grants are audited by our auditor, and we've got an audit team. So when the audit team is asking you for this stuff, please, please respond to them because they've got to finish this by September, within 3 months after the close of the year. And then you get a list of things that they need, but these are all things that you should already have in your files. Okay, so these are the things that they're asking you for. Okay. Okay. Let's go to global grants. So global grants, and because we're doing the grant fair.
Naomi, I want to, this past year, because I'm governor, I got to read all the grant applications that came in. And I got to tell you, it's really impressive what our clubs are doing all over our district and our state for, so many of them are youth related. And again, that's why it's so urgent that everyone get them in early so that the funds, because, we're trying to get the funds right out so you can, spend it, because you can't spend the money till you get it. So we again, the timing is really pushy, but there's a reason. It is to the benefit of the community that you're serving. So, and a lot of it's very, very, very closely youth related. So, and again, you can do a second application later in the year if you have another project, right, Naomi? You could do what you want now with what portion of the funds you would have coming, and then you could apply again. Is that possible?
If they have remaining money, they
Right.
can.
Okay.
But on the second round, it's whatever leftover money we have, and that's usually in about February, March that we let you know that there's available money left over, and then you can apply for that. Okay. Hey, Benson, I see there's a lot in the chat. Should we go over some of those questions?
Oh yeah, lots.
Okay, we sure can. Let's see. Okay, so Virginia's wanting to know, our bylaws do not have a conflict of interest statement. Should we update bylaws based on these guidelines?
Yeah, it would be a good idea to do that.
Not if it's in.
I'm sorry, Gary. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it would be a good idea to do that, but for the grants, of course, there is in the documents something about the conflict of interest. Okay, Benson?
Let's see. Maybe I'm not seeing all the questions, but I only saw really that one. Doug, did you have a question, Doug Adams? Because I have a little one on your thing, so I don't know if you had a question or not.
No, what I was telling you, Benson, is I have taken attendance with the exception of Gary, who I can't recognize, and also the Rotary Club Kona, which doesn't have a name associated with it.
Okay. Who
Okay.
else is from Rotary Club Kona?
Okay, because if we don't have your name in your club, we won't give you credit for for attending. So yeah, anybody with an iPhone that needs to have a name and maybe is that Gary Albitz? Maybe need your name in your club. So if you don't have it, do a chat to Doug. Okay,
Yeah, thanks, Mary.
so
Yeah, that's Gary. Gary said that Gary's iPhone is Gary Albitz.
okay,
So
and that's Kahalui.
yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to global grants because this is where the global grant pledge is due November 1st. So that's where we're having the project fair so you can see what you can put your money towards. So your your pledge is according to that allocation spreadsheet, right? So you're gonna choose where you want to put your money in for the global grant. So put the name of the project, how much DDF, how much matching, and then how much additional cash if you're going to put that in. And then your current club president signs it because that money is coming out. It could come out this year, but it could be a project that finishes next year. Like the Maui one was pledged last year, but we need the money this year. So that is why your PE needs to also sign this so they're aware of this and that the commitment is still good until the application is either funded or canceled. Okay, so your club budget needs to account for your pledge for prior years. Okay, so complete those things in, send it in. Everything goes to grants at rotaryD5000.org. Okay, so send that in there, and Arjun and James will keep track of that. Okay, so what's the difference between a district grant and a global grant? A global grant is minimum 30,000. So that's all of the club cash, the the DDF, the roll fund cash, all put in together. So it's possible to put in like 17,000 of cash and have roll fund and DDF make it 30,000. So the applications are online. It has to be with an area of one of the 7 areas of focus, and then you need to have that partnership, sustainable, measurable. Can be for scholarships for approved fellowships to colleges, master's degrees. So this is a bigger project, a bigger impact. District grants, there's no maximum, but it's according to what your DDF is. You have to qualify. You got an application. It doesn't have to be in one of the areas of focus. There's no partnership required. Okay, so it's a lot easier, and you can use it for an international project. Okay, which is a lot easier because then you don't have to do this, find a club in another place. For instance, Couple A, they had one where they gave money to a Nepal club, and it was for sports equipment. And do you know what? They had 100% attendance because the kids wanted to come and play the sports. So you can see that the money is very impactful when you do it in a foreign country. So here are the 7 areas. The environment was just added about 2 years ago, I think, and it was because a lot of people were doing environmental projects. But for global grants, it needs to be in one of these areas of focus. Okay, so the requirement for global grants, the district needs to be qualified. So that means the district needs to make sure all of the reports are in. Okay, and then the district governor signs that MOU. Okay, so we have to understand, and we're signing all of the things that say we're going to be responsible for the money and we understand what our responsibility is. Okay, anybody who is doing a global grant needs to do the grant management seminar on the Learning Center, and they will track. And this is a new requirement that started last year. Okay, so if you're going to sponsor a global grant, you need to take that grant management seminar on the Learning Center, because the Learning Center, we do have reports. Yeah, we can track that. So sustainability for any project, it's your community. What does your community need? Like dictionaries, if the schools really don't want that dictionary, listen to what they're saying. So we need to start with the user, who's the beneficiary, and what do they need? Okay. Then sustainability, make sure that you've got, we're helping the local or your beneficiary. Give them training. How do you use this? Like we do dictionaries, we show them how to use a dictionary, right? Okay, so got lots of grant resources. There's a global grant guide in the Learning Center on the Rotary International website. Lots of information of the focus areas. And they also have Rotary grant staff that will help you and a whole team of cadre, meaning they've got like 600 different people that can help you with your global grants. Okay, the Learning Center, lots of courses in the Learning Center. This one is for the foundation. And then here's your grant management. And if you took it last year, you got to do it again this year, requalification. Just like this grant management is, this grant seminar, you got to do it every year. And then the zone has a bunch of expert hub people. So when you go to this zone2627.org website, you click on one of these and you can find people who are subject matter experts in that subject. Okay, then let me tell you about the November 1st. So Nancy wanted to do this big webinar for Foundation Month. Okay, and Nancy, do you want to talk about that November 1st Zoom?
Yes. One of our reasons last year in March, April, we had Vicky and Ted, her husband, come through, and Tim, her husband, come through and visit the different clubs. And that was our big foundation push. And that's really nice and wonderful. But our district also has to pay for a lot of those expenses to bring them around. November is foundation month. And so I did ask Dave Mosrin, and who's head of our foundation, if we couldn't do something now in November and not wait till April. So we're going to on November 1st, Saturday. So that's just a few weeks away. We're going to have just a big webinar, and we've got a couple of good speakers. Jeff Cochran, I think, is going to be able to come on for part of that. And we're asking him to help explain to us where our money's been going on an international level and that. And then we've got different folks from our own district to be able to give information on impact. So it's not going to be, today's webinar is really the nitty-gritty minutia of how to get this all done that's necessary. But our November one is going to be, wow, this is what happens because you give, and to really help take that to your clubs, to really encourage them that it makes a difference because you give. So that's what we'd like everybody to attend. And what are we going to be, 9 till 10:30 or did we change
9
that?
to 10:30. 9 to 10:30.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to make everybody cry when you see what those grants do to help people. It
I'm
really
already crying.
Yeah. But we have a special guest, thanks to Kathy Lum, Milani Club.
Yes.
She secured a person from the Gates Foundation who's going to be talking about what they do and how that Polio Plus, and that's why Polio Plus, we need that money because we still need to do 400 million children every year to be vaccinated. But also this surveillance thing that Dr. Porter does is to make sure that when they do that testing of the waters, that they're not finding the polio virus in those other countries. Okay, so takeaway for this seminar is make sure you're using the grant funding money for the purpose that you applied for and it was approved. Don't spend the money until you're approved. Use it by May 31st. That's when the final report is due. 2 people authorized. You cannot carry over the money until the next year. Okay, so sorry, if you got money for Ryla and you didn't spend it, you might want to make a deposit for next year or somebody, you got to spend that money. Okay. Qualification checklist, all of the things need to be in by January 31st. Have a separate grant account. So if you're changing your bank accounts for some reason, because if you use all the money and a zero, the bank might close it. Yeah. So you might want to keep some money in that account. Keep your documents for 5 years. And okay, any questions?
Well, Naomi, you're gonna send this whole presentation out to everybody I think no?
No?
Oh.
We're going to post it on the
website. There we go.
Yes. And the recording will be on the website. So when you go to the homepage on the right-hand side, there's webinar recordings. The recording will be in there. Okay, and
Yes.
for anybody who wants to retake this, we're having another session on a weekday in the evening, at different time, different station.
Yeah,
Okay.
make sure you have 2 people from your club that have been trained on this, because occasionally that causes problems, and that's an unnecessary stopper to a project. Okay.
Naomi, do you have dates for the makeup?
Ah, yes. Wait, hold on. Sorry. I'll put it in the chat. What is any other questions? Anybody?
My other question is for the RFP. Do you want that submitted with the final report?
No. We just need how the money was spent. So RFP is the bids for the how you're going to use the money.
No, I mean the request for funds, like that form, that PDF
Oh,
form.
oh, the voucher?
Yeah.
No, we don't need the voucher since with that. The auditor will want to look at that, but for us, we just need the receipts.
Ah, okay. But it's better to have it in place anyways.
Yeah. Oh, you have to have it in place. The vouchers are required.
Okay.
Okay. So the grant is Monday, November 24th at 7 o'clock. That's the second one. Okay, and if you don't have 2 people that did this and they missed first and second, we will have a way to do that to get qualified, and it's by taking a quiz. So we'll let you know about that. Anybody who doesn't have 2 people, we'll let you know. Okay, Judy.
Yeah.
Hey, Judy.
Naomi, can you put the forms on send us a copy of the forms that we need to do for the international grant? Because those are due in November, right? Where are those located?
That's on the Global Grant page. So yeah, we'll send that to all of the presidents because they're the ones who are going to sign that. So we'll send that pledge out.
Okay, great.
Okay, and
Okay.
coming up,
And also a list of the Hawaii sponsored projects.
Yes, and so the next seminar at 10 o'clock, they're going to go through the projects that are available. But yes, we'll send that. Put that into a sheet and we'll send that out. Good idea.
Great, thank you.
good
other
questions, Judy. Well, I just wanted to let everybody know, right now, 10 o'clock, we have another on grant qualifications, and then for those keeping track on the current presidents and current AGs, we meet on Monday the 13th at 6:30 Hawaii time and 7:30. Did we change that? And then that's for the current presidents and AGs. And then Public Image is going to have for our district a meeting on October 16th. So, and that's really good to have your Public Image folks on board because we've got a lot of stuff going on. So that would be this coming Thursday. Then Youth Services is meeting with Jen Tenoy on October 27th at 5:30. And then the president-elects will be meeting on October 27th at 6:30. So just trying, I mean, it's a lot to go on. I thank God we're not having to fly everywhere. We just have to keep track of what time zone we're in, which it can be confusing enough for some of us. So, or what island I'm on. Thank you. And I've really enjoyed meeting so many of you at your club meetings this last couple of months. So more to do. And t-shirts went out. I mailed out a lot of t-shirts the other day before I left Hawaii. So hopefully I have to order again because I'm already out of some things. So if you got people that want t-shirts, let us know now. And when I come through your club, buy them now. Don't wait. Okay.
Okay, Nancy, and I think you meant the district shirt, not t-shirts.
The district shirts. Yeah, I know. Well, see, I do horse club t-shirts. I get them all confused. Yeah,
Okay,
the district shirts.
It's 10 o'clock, and we need to morph into our international service global grant projects with James Ham and Arjun. So if anybody has questions, please send it on the chat because we'll still be on this same Zoom. So if you're going to stay on, it's the same Zoom. Just stay on. Dave, did you have any last closing remarks?
No, just to thank you all for all your hard work and for all you do for the community. Thank you so much.